Hey guys, this is Primeval with a few announcements for Endless Legend. First, I'm going to be streaming a new series starting this Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So I'm taking suggestions right now for which faction you'd like to see me play. So we've got the Wildwalkers, Broken Lords, Vaulters. We probably won't do the Necrophages again. There's the Ardent Mages, Roving Clans, Draken, and the Cultists, and man, that Cultist is pretty freaky. Yeah, let's leave it on the Vaulters. That's probably the least frightening of the animated character profiles. Anyways, the second announcement is that Amplitude Studios was nice enough to give me a Steam key for the Founders Pack. I have already bought the game. Just the normal version. So I have this extra key, and what I'm going to do is give it away to one of you. One lucky viewer will get the Founders Pack key. And so what I'm going to do is, sometime during my stream, probably during the noon lunch hour break, I'll hold a draw and give away the key to someone in the stream. Or, since I know a lot of you won't be able to make it to the stream, if you post a reply to this video, or a comment rather, and just say that you would like the game, then I'll have you included in that draw as well. So finally, I messed up the YouTube subscriber alerts for the last few parts of my first game playthrough. So if you're waiting for the next part or the last parts of my playthrough as the Necrophages, they are already up, and I don't think you'll actually get an alert in your YouTube feed for that. And for future reference, if you're eager to find the next episode, look for a playlist, and if it's a game that I've completed, I'll probably have all of them uploaded already, and you can access them from the playlist. So what follows is some screen sharing that I did with Filthy Robot. So those of you who don't know, Filthy Robot plays and streams a lot of multiplayer Civ 5. Now he's also gone and bought Endless Legend, and so hopefully we'll be able to get some multiplayers going with him at some point. But I did some screen sharing with him to answer some questions he had about Endless Legend. So if you want to see me explaining some, I guess, game mechanics or questions to someone who's new to the game, that is what follows.
It seems like all of the tiles that you settle in this city are actually worked.
Yeah, that's right. So every tile that's within your city immediately provides yields to your total, and so later on there'll be something called a burrow that'll expand your city tiles. So unlike in Civ, you don't expand by culture, you expand by building these burrows, and the number of burrows you can build is limited by your population.
Didn't know that last part, okay.
So we may as well keep on exploring. You don't have to settle in the first territory that you open up in. I don't know if it's actually a good plan to be wasting turns walking around, but I'm still new to the game too, so I don't have any preconceptions about that. So as for where you want to settle the city, settling right at the edge of your territory is probably a bad thing, because then you don't get the yields of the neighboring hexes, and you also can't build burrows in that direction.
Okay. Although, to be honest, like, your land, none of it screams to me I want to expand towards it.
Yeah, this is just terrible. I mean, like, but maybe it's just this map. Like, I think I had things set to random. Maybe the number of anomalies is also determined by the map settings. Because, like, this adjacent territory only has one anomaly as well, as far as I can tell. Alright, so I think I'm going to go and settle... Unspoiled Ruins, that doesn't really give us much of a bonus either. We'll just settle right here, that's fine. Or maybe, I have no idea what coastal stuff does either, so this might be a game where I find that out. Well, I'll just settle right here so we can get started on what the basic mechanics are. And we'll keep on exploring with these guys. So there is this key right here, I don't know if you've noticed it, it selects the next available army. Unlike in Civ, you're not prompted to use up different actions and stuff like that.
By the way, are there hotkeys for that? Because that was driving me fucking nuts.
Not that I know of. I wish I knew a hotkey for that as well.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad. The unit that we still have to move is our hero. Heroes can wander around on their own, so if you want to do maximum exploring, that's a good option to have. You
How
can't
are they
keep.
at combat?
They're decent, so it depends. They can be upgraded like any unit, so this unit has a more life than my starting units and probably more attack and defense as well. So they're better than an individual starting unit for sure.
Okay, so it's not like wandering a Drake General around on its own.
Yeah, yeah. And they also can't be killed, so all of the heroes have this, let's see, this last stand ability, which means that if they die, they just go back to your whatever recruiting pool. And I don't think there's any penalty other than that they start off with less life or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe it takes a while to like re-equip them or something, but they're not gone for good or anything like that. But the other thing is that you can't just separate your hero, at least I haven't found a way to unhook him from an army. He only becomes a wandering hero if the army he's assigned to dies or is consumed in some way. So you could sell the unit he's with, but that sort of defeats the purpose of splitting him off. Or in this case, he was an army with just a settler, so when I settled the city, he's now on his own. Oh, and I do need to assign production. So I think the Founders Memorial is like a no-brainer here. It provides a total of 9 different yields, or 9 different pips of these various resources.
Yep. Felt like a monument to me. It's like, you know, something you pretty much are going to have to build. So
well, more like the palace, because you can only build it once, and it provides considerably more benefits than a monument.
yeah, that's a better analogy. I can get behind that. So
Yep.
the assigning the worker to one of those yields, is there? So I did play through this enough, you know, a couple hours I played. I have a sense of the basic research. It's more kind of an issue along the lines of, in Civ I have a pretty strong early game goal set, right? Like I want to get my expansions off. I want to start claiming my territory because I know that my population growth is going to be what's driving my science and my research. In this game I have a much less clear idea of what am I rushing for. Am I rushing to claim these secondary territories? Am I trying to get growth going? Is my, you know, science is not, it doesn't seem like it's directly related to growth anymore. It seems like it's related to the city, like size basically, which I guess is a subsidiary of growth, but I had much less clear idea of what I was doing early.
Yeah, I think
was going rune hunting, but the runes seemed really bad. They seemed like 30 gold doesn't seem that much, right?
Yeah, I think 30 gold can be quite good, but the runes definitely aren't as exciting as in Civ necessarily. I think that unlike in Civ 5, because of how you immediately work all your tiles, and there's a lot more diversity as to the tiles, at least insofar as the tiles also, as a rule, yield science. So there's a lot more room for specialization of cities. You don't need to build every building in each of the cities, so you can specialize with a science city or a gold city or something like that. At least that's the idea that I have. Now, as for whether you want to prioritize expansion or growth or something else, I think it will depend on your faction and the game. So I haven't played any multiplayer so far, but I imagine just like in Civ, if you play on a really hard difficulty, you might not have the freedom to expand early. But
have you completed a game yet on Endless Legend? Have you got a sense?
Yeah, I finished one game on normal, and it turned out to be really easy because the AI would not build any sort of sizable army, so I just, you know, conquered every city that I came across.
And how long approximately did it take?
That was 7 hours.
Okay.
But I was on stream, I was discussing... Pardon me?
Don't have a sense then of the multiplayer game time yet?
No, I think it would be comparable to Civ, possibly faster if everyone did auto combat resolution. But I don't think that people would be, probably some of the fun is doing combat, so I imagine it could be within the same sort of time range.
Right.
Yeah, especially if you played a smaller map. So I think the map that I played on was a normal size, but if we were to tailor the settings to multiplayer, we would probably, you know, pare down the map size and all the rest of that. Right, so population is still important just like in Civ, so obviously you can assign your guy to any one of these and he'll produce stuff. There's an unlimited number of specialists, I guess you already gathered that, but definitely doing food right off the bat makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, so for research, let's see. Stuff that gives you food makes sense as well. Stuff that gives production makes sense to me, but the other thing to consider, at least for me, is that we're going to be building this Founders Vault for... Actually, we have really good production here. At least there's that. No bonus production, but decent production. So, after we finish this Founders Vault, we'll be out of interesting things to build other than units. So maybe, what I was going to say is we could research some of these techs that that don't give us buildings, like Search Party or Language Square, which don't require us to build anything. And so we could make use of those right away. But since that's not a thing...
Could you show me? So I've looked over these texts as well, and I pretty much have the same mentality you did, which seems to be like early investments in production or growth seem pretty strong. Can you show me a little bit about the hero system? Because that is unique to this game. So,
yeah.
Maybe grab one of the hero upgrade texts and show me like what to do with it.
Okay, hero upgrades. As far as I know, there are two ways to improve your hero. There's this skill tree, which unlocks based on experience that you gain from either being a governor or from getting into combat, also from parlaying and doing different things on the map. And then that will level up your hero either on his ability to govern, depending on what the particular skill is, or his ability to lead an army.
He's got gear though too, right?
Yeah, and so that's the other way that you level up your hero, and it's probably the most effective way to increase his combat. But it can also increase his or her governing abilities. So these different things. Right now, I don't think we'd get much of an improvement by swapping stuff out. So here
the stuff right there, is that stuff you own on the left? Is that stuff you own or that's available? I know the stuff on the right is equipped, but
yeah. So this is stuff I wouldn't say it's so much we own them so much as they're like technologies, because by researching other technologies such as improved armor or whatever, here I'll just bring that up now. So if we went and researched advanced alloys or advanced armor, we would unlock advanced allies or advanced armor that we could use to equip our units and our heroes. And then the actual active equipping would cost us dust and potentially strategic resources. So it's not so much that we own them so much as we're unlocking techs to equip them.
Gotcha.
There is an exception though. So through quests and other things, you can gain items that do have an equip cost, but they can only be equipped once. Whereas these things can be equipped across all your heroes and across all of your units if you wish.
How do you equip a unit with one of these?
So at the military screen, you have these unit designs. And then here you can just modify the unit design by giving them different things. So I could give this guy some armor and a helm, and then his, I guess in this case, his health, hit points and defense stats go up. And then you just apply that, and then now from now on when you build, so now this guy's going to be called a Dervish 2. Now you'll have the option of building Dervish 2, and his production cost is slightly increased. And you can also upgrade or I forget what it's called, upgrade additional or existing dervishes.
Retrofit, they call it.
Yeah, retrofit, that's the one. And that costs dust rather than production.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, and so that's that. The other thing is there are also accessories, which I haven't played around too much with. But these things can, in some cases... Okay, so this is just improved movement and improved vision, which seems pretty useful, but you can also get things that improve your ability to govern if you're just using your hero as a governor instead.
Do me a favor, when you get a moment, will you show me some combat? Because I did play through the combat a little bit. It seemed to, when I didn't auto-resolve it, and I just out of habit didn't auto-resolve it because the AI tends to be awful at all games.
Right.
I was kind of curious to see if there are options that I wasn't seeing to make that combat more interesting.
Sure.
I'm curious to see when you get around to doing that. Okay, so why don't you take a couple turns and just tell me what you're doing as you're doing it?
Okay, so there's the quest system. It's just like Quest and Civ, and the main quest, which is, I believe, each Civ has its own unique main quest, and that's how you win the Wonder Victory, as I understand it. Basically, you go through all the quests, and the demands for achieving each step become greater, and when you complete that, that's one victory condition.
Okay.
So if we do want to do some combat, it does make sense. There's probably... Each territory has one of these minor factions in it, and we haven't met ours yet, so it's probably off to the right here. And maybe we have more anomalies
so that
as well.
2 over there is a minor faction in the next territory over?
Right.
Okay.
And if we do want to get into some fighting early, it's probably best if we bring all of our starting units together, especially since I'm playing on Impossible. Did I search that? Search. Okay.
So is there an easy way to spot runes? I know if you zoom out to a certain level, it switches the map over, but it seems to be one level out of about 10. So
Right.
that level right there. And if you go one further, you lose all the little icons.
Which I guess is kind of frustrating, but it's not terrible because you'd only want to search the region where your units are, I guess. But yeah, I can understand the annoyance there. And so I was going to go and search this rune, but it's apparently part of the quest that I didn't read. But since this is just a teaching game, I'm not going to bother figuring that out right now.
Sure.
We're just going to go and hunt down someone to fight. And what we'll do is... Okay, so I'm going to go and give this hero the movement bonus. Improved movement. And so that's going to cost me...
you something to do it? Equipment costs 25. So it costs you 25 dust to put that on for the first time and only once, though?
Well, let's see. So I think some of those might be single use. Let's go and see if we can equip the movement thing to the dervish. No, we can equip this onto as many things as we want. But perhaps some of the unique quest items are limited. And we'll move forward here, and then I'm going to go and assign the hero to this guy so that if we do find someone to fight, we'll have at least 2 units to play with.
Okay.
And looks like we've hit the edge of the map here. That's the first time I've done that. It's cool how it's not a straight edge.
Civ was my first 4x game. 4x game.
Oh yeah? Civ 5 or just Civ in general?
Civ 5.
Okay, cool. I played a lot of Civ 3 in undergrad. Or at least in first year, especially during the holidays.
Played a lot of real-time strategy.
Alright, and do you know how the luxury resource system works in Endless Legend compared to Civ?
Explain it to me. I think it's basically... My understanding was you basically have them in your region, and you don't have to be... They don't have to be in your city borders to utilize them in some way or something like that.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear it.
All of the resources in your territory can be harvested. You just need to build an extractor, so they don't have to be within your city tiles, unlike in Civ. Well, actually, they're not unlike in Civ. Civ is the same way. You can build your stuff anywhere within your cultural borders, even if it's not within the cool tiles. So it's similar in that respect. The difference between luxury resources in Endless Legend and Civ is that your luxuries are not passive. You need to activate them, and you choose when to activate them, and they only last for a specified number of turns.
Interesting. So where do you activate them from?
So this screen here, it'll list your luxuries, and then if you mouse over, it'll tell you what the effect of activating the luxuries are, and I don't know how long it's going to last. Oh, 10 turns.
Right there, 10,
effect duration 10 turns, and...
is that a one-time, or you have to... Because it says there's a booster cost there, and it's... I don't know what the fucking cost is. It's 10
Yeah, it's 10 die, and that cost goes up based on your number of cities, I believe. So as you conquer more cities, the cost to activate goes up, and that's why you'll need to...
So, when it says act, so you're saying that they're temporary. They're temporary. The benefits you gain from that. Does
Yeah.
it deplete the resources? Does the resource basically have, like, for example, 100 die and it uses up 10 every time you activate this bonus, or is it a one-time use? And I'm not understanding what. The
Yeah, so
cost
it'll
is.
use up 10 to give you this bonus for 10 turns.
Okay, and how
That's
much
what
is
it
in
is.
the node?
How much is it?
How much total is available in that node? So if it uses up 10 to do that, how much is there to begin with?
Okay, so I have 10. I got 10 from a rune, and
Okay.
I'm not currently...
Is that not a die resource that you're looking at?
No, this is stockpiled, so think of this as accumulating
Yeah.
dice.
No, I'm fine with that. So
Okay.
what is the actual node over there?
Oh, okay. The node... What resources do we even have here? We have glass steel. We haven't discovered any luxuries within our territory yet.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that was from a rune, basically. You pulled out
Yeah.
that die. And
Yeah,
you had
a
10
one-time
die from the
gain.
rune.
I may
Okay.
never get dies again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm with you now.
Okay, cool. So if we want to see some combat, well, let's see. The other cool thing is... Okay, so let's do combat here. We'll attack this village. And if you have other units within a certain distance, I don't know what that distance is, they can come in as reinforcements. But right now we're just fighting our hero and one unit against these two other units, so we're ready to fight. So the first thing I'm sure you noticed is you assign where you want your units to appear at the beginning of the fight. Both of my guys... Okay, so my hero is ranged, so I'll probably want to keep him back. And so we'll want to look at how quickly these guys move. They move really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's nowhere I can deploy where my ranged hero is going to be safe. But that's fine. They also, up at the top, the order these guys are in, from left to right, is where they're placed based on initiative. So both these guys will act first, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, it might
where
matter. I mean, you could potentially use your other unit to block.
Yeah, like I could
You
put
can only
this guy
attack
back here.
Adjacent.
Yeah, and then I could put this guy here.
Do you use zone of control at all, for example? Does it cost more movement points to move around people?
Not that I've... Like, you can't walk through enemy units, but I don't think it costs more to move in a zone of control manner. At least I haven't noticed that. And
Okay.
flying units can ignore enemy units. They can just fly over them.
Okay.
So I'm going to set us up like this. I've heard that there are benefits to high ground and being in forest, but that might be like faction specific, or it might be
Okay.
a very small bonus. But
Where can I
that's
see
how
the
we're gonna-
range on your characters?
Sure. So these guys are going to rush at me, so that's not going to be relevant in this game. The heroes, let's see, point blank power doesn't seem to say. I think the last time I had a ranged hero, he had a range of 3 and it didn't specify in their capabilities. So maybe all ranged heroes have a range of 3?
If you mouse over attack, does this say anything?
No.
At the top where it says his actual attack. it's a
Oh
green
man, that
50.
makes sense. We could
No, it doesn't say shit. Okay. And what are the capacities? So I see. Do you know what they mean yet? Last Stand you already explained to me.
Right.
Army Health Boost 2, I assume is something. I don't know what Dust Efficiency is though, and I don't know what. I've seen the point blank. Okay, so that
Right.
actually has effects. If you mouse over,
Yeah.
it tells you. I've seen the point blank attack power 1. Is that something that ranged units have? That basically mean they suck when they're adjacent? No, it doesn't. It means it's actually stronger when shooting.
I
Point
think it
blank.
just means stronger when close. They're not naturally weaker when close, but if you have point blank attack power, then you're stronger when you're close.
Alright.
Yeah, so like some of these aren't relevant for a battle, like Dust Efficiency 2 is for when he or she is a governor. Okay, and then there's also the strategies. If you really want these guys to hold themselves in a particular position, then you'd have to use hold position. Otherwise, here they execute their own different behaviors.
Okay.
But yeah, there's nothing too complex happening in this battle situation, so I don't think you're going to get anything that you haven't got from your own fights.
Is there an advantage to doing this manually versus just letting it auto resolve?
I imagine that if you do, I think that, so the maps are pretty small, so there isn't that much room for fancy stuff like kiting, but if the map has choke points and you can take advantage of those choke points, then maybe manualing will get you a huge advantage. But otherwise, I think auto-resolve is probably very similar to what you'd get by playing it out yourself.
Right.
And I have been running into this glitch where the battle will just freeze. Well, the game doesn't freeze, but the battle won't progress. So then what I have to do is load an autosave and then auto-resolve it, which is...
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a glitch that they're going to address, but...
Did you DC friend?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it cut off like the last word of what you were saying.
Alright.
That's okay. Not a big deal. Alright, so okay. So give me just I need to go here in just a few minutes. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. But just quickly, what are some early game goals? What should I be trying to do early game?
So getting your population up. Population is very useful, just like in Civ. Claiming territories, especially if they have some really tasty yields, so if they have multiple anomalies. And then if you're playing single player, on a hard difficulty, I'm assuming that, just like in Civ, the weaknesses of all of these AIs is that they're not very strong in military. So if you were playing single player, I assume it's early aggression is a priority. Probably true for multiplayer as well, unless you have many opponents, then I imagine going to war, just like in Civ, weakens both of you.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like I think you had the same idea I had, getting food and production up, and then using that for whatever plan you have.
I did find it mildly amusing that the game uses resources that are food, production, science, and gold, and then calls them very similar things, which I'm like, played Civ much?
Well, I mean, like, if it's a civilization building game, if you were to like re-theme those resources, I don't think that there's anything else that's too logical for those categories.
I might change the colors a little bit, or call it something different, you know?
That's true. That's true. The colors do sort of match up.
Capacity instead of production or something, or like maybe they could use silver instead of gold, like just something.
Yeah, no, it's the colors definitely match up with the Civ, so which is good for learning.
Well, cheers for taking a minute to talk to me about it.
Yeah, no problem. I hope you got something out of that.
Yeah, I think so.
We should definitely try the multiplayer sometime, because like, that really will let us know, how much there are a lot of new pieces to play with in this game, but are they actually useful pieces or just annoying pieces like that?
That's a really good question and a really good point. Are you around Thursday at all this week?
Well, not really. Maybe for like an hour, but no, not really.
I tend to do my non-Civ days are Thursday, and when I stream games that aren't Civ. So I would love to do. I mean, we can make some time. I sometimes do non-Civ on other days. It's just, of course, my viewer count goes down.
Yeah, of course. You've got a nice niche carved out for yourself there.
Yeah,
very loyal Civ multiplayer following.
Yeah, but they seem to like Endless Legend reasonably last time I was playing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good connection there. Maybe Thursday morning. I'll see how things are Wednesday.
Okay, well, just shoot me a message on Steam if you find the time, and if not, no biggie. But if you do, that'd be cool to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Good talking to you.
All right, mate. Good night.
See ya.